Well, it looks like it's 11 o'clock. Is everybody in that's here
Well,
today?
as far as I know, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and get started then?
Mhm.
I'm Lloyd Allender with St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association, and John Lee. Thank you for using your Zoom account to get us together again here on Friday. Also got Laura Lee and Jim Choi, a couple of our board members, other board members. This St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association is a not-for-profit run by its own members. None of us make any money that are on the board. We're all volunteer our time and some of our money sometimes too. We try to cover our expenses anyway. But glad to have you all here. I guess we got a couple of events coming up. You mentioned earlier, John, if you want to talk about your coach JT Fox is going to do a special event for us next Tuesday, the 14th. And then our regular third Tuesday meeting on the 21st is going to be Sandy Rubin. She's the owner of Flair Staging Company, and she's one of Jan Duke's team. I know Jan Duke had her on sometime during the pandemic. We had Jan Duke and her own. She had a whole panel of her woman support team that supports her rehab efforts, and she uses Sandy Rubin as her staging source. So I'm glad to give. Sandy's going to have her whole program on the 21st, so she'll get into the nitty gritties of staging, what she can do for us. And one of the things I like about it, I think they do it. They're so sure that staging your house will sell it fast that they won't charge you anything. They'll collect their fee at closing. I think Jan has mentioned that too. That she knows once they stage your house, it's going to sell fast, and they'll get they pay for their fee out of your closing costs. So that's the settlement. So John, you want to talk a little bit about JT Fox next Tuesday on the 14th? That's a Zoom only too. That's a Zoom only. That will not be in person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and thanks for mentioning Sandy. I think that's great. And just the one thing you just said about you don't have to pay it until closing. That makes a huge difference for a lot of people, because some of the staging can be expensive. But I'll tell you what I've seen too, and especially the market we've had in the last year or so, things selling for way more than what they're what you list them for, which is kind of, and a lot of it's still going that way. Some of them backed off a little bit, but that makes all the difference, because what I think looks good is not necessarily what a modern buyer is looking for when they come in to look at your house, because I mean, even with colors and stuff like that, I don't know that kind of stuff. And I know Sandy, they're professionals. That's what they do. So I really think a lot of times we ought to price our things a little bit more. I'm looking at that more and more as far as, on what this, just figuring that cost into the part of selling. So yeah. And that's the 21st, and that'll be on location at the Moolah Center. Live in person. So be sure to mark your calendars for Sandy Rubin and Flair Staging. And then, this Tuesday is one of my coaches, JT Fox. He's the #1 wealth and business coach in the world. This is it's a very good, it's kind of an exclusive appearance here, which is, I didn't ask him to do this. I pay him separately, privately for coaching, but he did offer to come and talk to our group, which is huge, really, because these guys, just to sit at the table with them, is really interesting to see what they do. I mean, they do stuff like malls and stuff like museums and other, pretty big real estate deals. Then there's also people in one of our groups that we're in. I'm in this founders group, and there's also people like me and you that'll do, $100,000 real estate deal and stuff like that they present. So, it's not that you might feel intimidated, but it's really good to see what the people do, to sit at the table with them. So yeah, be sure to tune in. If you're not registered, I'll stick a link in the thing here. You can but you should be able to check your emails for that. I think this is it. Yeah. Yeah, there we are. But yeah, that'll be at 6:30 on Tuesday the 14th. Be on time and go ahead and register, but be on time because it will be very brief and very short. He's always right to the point with his information and his tips and things like that. So anyway, that's all I got. Do watch your, like we said before, always watch your inbox, your emails, but check your overflow, your bulk, or your spam or whatever too, because some of the stuff ends up in there. I know I had something again yesterday, something I've been looking for a while, and that's where it ended up. So anyway, anybody have anything they want to buy, sell, or anything else today? No, everybody got everything they need.
Sounds like it. I still don't have my RV, a lot from my RV garage, but I'm always on the prowl for that. Always open to suggestions.
You're looking at St. Charles County, is that right?
Yeah, I like to get St. Charles County. I might consider something in St. Louis County if it's close to one of the bridges in Bridgeton or Maryland Heights. Because I live real close to the Page extension, so yeah, that'd be a good another possibility. Or even if I have a small house on a large lot where I could build it on the back end of a lot. I look at some of those too. Actually, it's ideal if it's on a corner lot. It's a long lot. I could build it on the back side, have my own entrance on the back, not have to have a long driveway from a side street. But
Yeah, Lord, same here. We're still looking as well.
okay. I'm going to get one. I want to build at least two so I can get your RV and mine in it. So
Okay.
Well, maybe you could have a rental house and a small house in the front part, and then you have your garage in the back.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Two RVs.
yeah, that's what I'm looking at, to have a if I buy one that's got a house already, yeah, the house would be the main rental while I'm building the garage, and then as big as as big as RV storage as the local code would let me build. I know St. Charles has some limits, so you can't build a garage larger than your house square footages. And
Oh, yeah.
I kind of stretched that one time. I just didn't ask City Hall about it. My very first house had no garage at all, and I built one on the back end. It was a very small house, but I wanted as big a garage as I could get. So anyway, that's always something on my back burner. And Ann's always got to look out for me because she wants to have a place to park her RV inside too. So
Where did you build the garage, Lloyd?
pardon?
Where did you build that garage?
The garage? Oh, that was in my very first house here in St. Charles.
Okay.
On Lindenwood Avenue, 4 blocks north of the college. It'd been a rundown house. It's one of those houses that the realtors are kind of ashamed to show. I drove by it and I said, "Hey, man, this looked like a real fixer-upper." So I called the number on the sign, and the real estate office, and the guy said, "No, okay, let me take a look." And he looked at it, and he come through. It was all paper back then. There's no MLS on the computer. And I said, "Oh yeah, yeah, that one. Well, you can stop by the office and pick up the key and go back and see it anytime you want." They were so unproud to show it. I didn't need a key anyway, because the back door was standing open. All the kids in the area had been using it as a playhouse, running out. The back door was just standing open to the breeze. So the padlock was only on the front door.
You needed Sandy to stage it for you. Or they did.
Yeah, the kids, there was a few pieces of sticks of furniture left, not much. Well cleaned out by the time I got into it. And then, well, except for the squirrels, they'd moved in and set up housekeeping.
Oh yeah.
Up in the attic, yeah. Yeah, it was quite a project. Yeah, it was. I won't take on that big a project again. I learned a lot. Like you said, you learn from every project, every deal you do, you learn from it.
Mhm.
And that was my biggest learning experience right there. Because while renovating that, I do it almost all my own work between me and my brother. My brother helped me out. But I did hire a contractor to build the garage, though. That was one thing I did. But no, my brother and I did that one, and a lot of learning. And it was about a 4-year project, 2 years to get a couple of rooms livable, and I moved in, and then the progress slowed down. Once you move into a project, it's like, yeah, you don't want to start a big mess and they have to clean it up before you go to bed at night. So turned out to be a long project. And while I was doing that one, I started reading STLREIA's book about buying multifamily properties and turning them around. So I said, hey, this sounds pretty good. So I did that and actually purchased, rehabbed, and flipped 2 duplexes in St. Anne before I finished my house where I was. And then I said, and I made way more money on that project than I did on my own house that I ended up spending all the time and effort on. So like I said, it was a learning experience.
Yeah, if you want to not get a project done, move into it.
Yeah, that slows things down, definitely.
Yep.
I thought I was saving expenses on, getting out, and I sold my mobile home that I was living in once I got moved into the house. But like you said, yep, it was a learning experience.
Yep, the learning is in the doing, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Kind of reminds me about your book you wrote about your deals gone wrong or bad deals, how you learn
Oh,
from.
yeah, Fred, failed real estate deals. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, probably every time I read one of your chapters there, I said, oh yeah, I can relate to that. I did that with this project or that.
Yep. Those are the best lessons. You can learn so much from a book or from somebody, but then when you get in there and do it, things are going to get more specific.
Oh yeah. Yep. I learned a lot.
Yep. So who's selling something today? Anybody got anything to sell, or is everybody buyers? Or is everybody quiet? They're just here
It's
to.
kind of quiet today. Looks like, yeah, we're trying to just check out to see what everybody else is doing.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I did see a few of our folks at the Mr. Landlord conference last weekend. Between Jim and I were there on different days, or we were there both there on Thursday, and then I was back again on Saturday. That was a worthwhile get together.
Yeah, was there more people there on Saturday than
Actually,
Thursday?
Saturday, I was expecting more people because I had more local people. If you're working and you maybe not be able to
Yeah.
on Thursday and Friday, and I take a vacation day. But actually, there were a few more open chairs that like I said, we were having trouble on Thursday finding our chairs to sit down when we wanted to go in.
Yeah.
There were plenty of open chairs on Saturday, so I think
Oh, okay.
I made it come early, Thursday and Friday. Had to leave. I caught a flight back home by Saturday.
Mm-hmm. All right.
They were getting tired from partying on too much on Friday night too. And they were kind of dragging in. Jeffrey you can tell he was a college professor before he got into this Mr. Landlord stuff. He was
Oh, was he?
chastising the people, before as the people that came into class late. Well, somebody asked the question, well, if you would have been here on time this morning, you would have, we talked about that already. No, he's good. He's quite a good presenter, though. And
I'm waiting to see Uncle Vernon next time I go downtown.
oh, okay. See him patrolling the streets.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if he's actually out in the streets or not, but yeah.
Yeah. Only when the TV cameras are going to
Yeah.
interview the sheriff, he gets out and Supposedly some of his deputies are patrolling Washington Avenue too here.
Really?
Yeah, that's what seen him on TV most recently. I knew it was on during the pandemic, talking about when the evictions started back up.
Mm-hmm.
He's apparently, they cannot make any arrests, but they can patrol the streets. They can be a presence, and they can,
Yeah, because they're really not St. Louis City Police.
no,
So.
no, and they can call, if they get a situation, they see a situation, they can call the police and get the St. Louis Police Department involved.
Yeah. All right.
Apparently they're spending some of their, doing a little overtime in their,
Now,
Okay.
what happens? One of the sheriffs got killed. Is that what happened?
what? Sure, I
don't know.
It happened while I was out of town, and I'm not sure what the,
I know when I talked to Jeffrey, he had talked about, I know they were donating some money to the sheriffs directly, which were you there for that?
yeah, Jim and I were there. That's what we saw. Yeah, they donated $1,100 to the sheriff because they were saying that they weren't getting the support from the city that they needed for all their equipment, and everything. So that would help out with their some purchasing some equipment they needed. And they also gave was it $350 or $450 to a deserving tenant, and Kira Maley, one of our members, donated one of her tenants who had been struggling she knew had been struggling with, but he managed to pay the rent. He kept up with the rent. They cut back on some other, lesser items, and they got by. And so she nominated him for that. And he was there for the presentation, presented with a check.
So the tenant was there, correct? That's what.
Yeah, tenant. He brought one of his daughters along too.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Apparently, Kara had been running to them, and got a couple of they were from the Congo, I believe she said.
I think so. Yeah.
Immigrated from the Congo, and there were several other family members, like a brother or sister, that came too, and had another family from the same family that she's rented to several of them in her rental houses.
Yeah, she works with immigrants. And now, in fact, when Jeffrey called me, that's like the first person I thought of. I thought of her because I know she does stuff that a lot of people don't do. And she takes some chances. And I just thought, if anybody might have a deserving tenant, it might be her. And she had a couple of them right off the bat. So I didn't know what the outcome was, but I know that we were sent somebody along. So that's great.
Yeah, no, they were there. They showed up and received a check. Yeah, I work with, when I had my apartments down in the south, small apartments in South City, I heard of some Bosnian immigrants back then. That was back when there were a lot of Bosnian refugees were coming in. And they got referred by somebody, a neighbor. There was one of the neighbors was renting to a Bosnian couple, and they saw my for rent sign, and so they sent some of their friends that were coming over, and they lived with us for a while. Actually, he did some painting for me too. He was a painting contractor, so I got put him to work for some of his rent. Anyway, so nobody else has got anything today? Any deals you're working on?
It looks like everybody's got everything they need.
Yeah,
today.
For today, yeah.
Well, yeah, all my work's being done. Hopefully, they got money now, so they should be working.
Yeah, you got them paid, so you're good. Getting to work, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's something I'll share with you as the time goes on. Excuse me, as time goes on with that. So foundations are something we could all use now and then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope you don't have to replace one with it while you still got the house on top of it, but
yeah,
it's a little trickier.
It's a whole different world.
Yes, it is.
So anybody else got anything they're working on? They could use some help on. I know we don't have, doesn't look like we have a lot of contractors on here today, but
No,
just people looking for information and ready to go back to Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. Is that what we got going here? Early lunch? I don't know. Jim's shaking his head. Yeah, like he's
oh,
hungry.
he's ready to go back to lunch. Yeah, he's got to.
Yeah, I got up early and had to meet the guy, so I'm ready for an early lunch myself today.
I was out helping my wife clean out her pond out in the backyard. So I got to go back out and finish tree trimming this afternoon. So get some outside work done before the heat comes next week. The forecast is going to be pretty, get our first real taste of summer next week coming.
Yep, we got our air conditioner fixed just in time, I think. It was broke. It took the guy, I don't know, over a week to get out here. He wasn't here 5 minutes and he had it fixed. It was just amazing.
Oh yeah, people that know what they're doing, they can.
Yep, he had the part and everything. He was, I mean, it wasn't even 5 minutes. He asked me a couple of questions, went outside, he came back in before I even sat down and he said it's fixed. Like, oh my. So,
Yeah, it's a good thing, but then you wonder, like I used to. For the longest time, I would say, "Oh, if you got to call the air conditioner, well, let me come take a look at it." And so I went over. I go over. I'd make sure the breakers were all on and check the fuses, make all the switches were in the right position. And if that area, all that looked good, I said, okay, if it wasn't doing anything, I take the little panel off on the outside compressor unit. Look, see, maybe there's a loose wire out here. I jiggle around on the wires and I tighten all those up. Take the connections loose and tighten them up and clean the contacts. And I did that for years, and it never was that. I ended up calling a contractor. Like on the 4th of July, I got a call from one of my tenants. They always go out on the weekends or holidays. The holidays are even worse. But I found somebody who was working on a holiday. And I said, okay, I don't want to mess with this because one of the tenant herself, she was disabled and in a wheelchair. I didn't want her to be eating more uncomfortable. And yeah, I checked, the thermostat was on, everything. So okay, I just called. I called a heating air conditioning guy who works on Saturdays because my regular guys at the time weren't working Saturdays or weekends. He got there real quick though, so there was a bigger company, got there quick. He goes out in the back, takes the panel off. He looked at everything that I did with it inside. He said, okay, go turn the thermostat on. He comes back in. It's working. I said, hey, what was it? Oh, it was one of the, I took that panel loose on the compressor and it just had a loose connection back there. I said, for all the years I've been doing that, it never was a loose wire. With the first time I call somebody before looking for the loose wire. So now I'm back to looking for that loose wire on the compressor. Before I called my heating and air conditioning guy. If I got the time. If I don't, I'll call him anyway. So
I always look at everything too, and it's never what I look at, it seems like. Yeah.
it never was until that time that I didn't look at it. All those is a loose wire. But yeah, most of the time it's something more serious than that.
Yeah, ours turned out to be a capacitor, I think is what he called it.
I was going to say that's the other thing is I'm surprised he had one on his truck though. Yeah, usually that's the big thing that I got too. If there's been an electrical storm or something in the neighborhood,
yep,
that's what's they knock out compressors, or they can stress a compressor, and then a couple of weeks later after the electrical storm, then your capacitor finally goes. And I'm not usually lucky enough that he's got one on the truck. He's got to go to the shop to get one or go back to the supplier and get a specialized one.
Well, this guy was ready. He had one right there, and it wasn't 5 minutes. I mean, literally 5 minutes. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take long to replace it. If you know what needs to be replaced.
Yep. I didn't, and I wouldn't do it. I'd still have him do it, even if I knew.
Oh yeah, no, I don't mess with capacitors.
No.
I got zapped by one back on a TV set, thinking I could work on my own TV set. what is unplugged? You know, oh, it's unplugged. What the heck? Those capacitors, they're still charged up, even when the power is not plugged in. No. Gave me a jolt. No.
Don't want that.
No. Well, if nobody else has anything. I'm gonna go out and rescue Bonnie, see if she's finished getting her pond filled back up again.
John, what's your background there? Is that the Virgin Islands or something?
Who, me?
Yeah, John Lee. Yeah.
I think it's the Mediterranean. I'm not sure exactly. I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's a real picture, not a Photoshop, huh?
That's,
Or is it a Photoshop?
well, me and Danny are photoshopped in there.
Yeah, I look at the edges now. I can see
It's
there's
a real photo.
Yeah. I was thinking it was you were really there. Okay.
No, not today. I'm
Oh,
in
my.
Weldon Spring today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't look a lot like the Caribbean,
Yeah.
does it? Yeah.
It puts out some water. Weldon Spring puts out a little water, but not that much.
Not this month. No, there's only one spring here. We got a pool.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my.
Oh. So. Well,
I guess there is one question, Lloyd.
Yeah.
If you're getting going for the discount, do we still get the discounts like at Office Depot or Office Max, whatever they call it now? Do you have to just give them a certain number? Do you remember how that works? I know we talked about that years ago, but I didn't know if that was still in vogue.
There is a new with Think Realty. I think I've still got my card from the old days, which still works. But if you haven't got one, you can go to I don't know. Did Diana was checking that out. They got a new program at Think Realty for discounts.
Diana, who moved to Colorado?
Jim, no, you're muted, Jim. I know it was discussed at the last board meeting. I wasn't present there.
Yeah, Diana didn't, she said she tried it and it didn't work. She asked the board members to try it. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know if anybody else has, but Jim Heiser used the national RIA discount for the brochures that we had printed up for the Mr. Landlord at Home Depot, I think. I thought it was national RIA.
At Office Depot.
Office Depot, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is something. We'll be coming out with as soon as I'm going to check that out too. I've been on my agenda to take a look at that link. I want to say I did, and I thought it went through. I set up a new one with in Bonnie's name and with her email address because
we used to have a bunch of discounts like Sun Rental and other stuff like that.
That's all
Office
through
Depot, yeah.
Think Rental, Think Realty. I want to say the only one that's not on there anymore was Sherwin-Williams. They used to be part of the Think Realty. I noticed they dropped off because I was checking that because Kira Maley was looking for the discount account information for that, and they are not on there anymore. Let me I'll test out the link here this afternoon, Bruce, and
Okay.
Diana was going to do that, and once we make sure it worked, we were going to send it out. She's going to send it out an email to all of our members.
Okay.
But because it's a new program for them, we wanted to make sure test it first.
Okay.
Oh.
Am I confused? Did Diana move to Colorado? Am I?
No.
She spends most of her time out there, taking care of her mother.
Okay.
Buying she and Roger ended up buying a house out there 2 doors down from her mother. So they switch off spend part of their time out there.
Because they were spending a lot of time fixing up a house. Is that the same house or something different?
Probably, yeah. It's one of those that once you move into them, they slow down, like we talked about earlier.
Like you said, yeah.
Yeah, they fixed it. It was livable, and so they moved into it, and then they're doing renovation of the kitchen. In fact, Bonnie and I stopped in there. We were on our way out to Gunnison last fall, and we stopped in and saw it. Yeah, it's a nice big house. It's a big project, but she was still finishing the tweaking on some kitchen cabinets that were.
Mhm.
is replacing the kitchen cabinets. So. Anyway, but yeah, she still does all her emails and stuff from Colorado Springs. Well, for us here in St. Louis, even though she's not here, so she's always
Okay.
thinking about us, even when she's not here, taking care of those issues. So. Well, it's 11:30. If nobody else has anything, I say we'll go ahead and sign off for today and
Yep.
back to our regular business. So thank you all for coming and look forward to seeing, if not next Tuesday, the following Tuesday, not the second Tuesday, on the third Tuesday. Be back in person and then here every Friday as usual, 11 o'clock. So until then.
Thank you all.
Hey,
We'll see you
thanks again.
Tuesday and then see you Friday.
Good seeing you all.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, bye, guys.
All right.
Bye.